Okay, so welcome to 4 p.m. at Fashionista, our initial first broadcast of the podcast.
Hell yeah.
Fancy. I'm Tyler. I'm with Maura and Alyssa today.
Hi.
We are just getting into the podcast game. We're going to see how this goes.
Branching out into more content, more media for all of you.
Hashtag content. And yeah, we're really excited. Before we get started, Alyssa, I think you should talk about the name 4 p.m. at Fashionista because I feel like it's really your brainchild.
It's true.
Okay. Besides being a low-key Drake reference, I would say that between like 3:45 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon at Fashionista, we use a group chat called Slack. All of you internet friends will know what that is, but just the conversations become more and more and more unhinged, probably because we've been staring at the internet for, 8 or 9 hours already during the day, and people just get super weird ideas around 4 p.m. at Fashionista.
But our best ideas, though.
Yeah, I would say they're the best and maybe the most on-brand ideas, but also the ones that we don't have time to write because they're not real stories. I feel like that's where Hey Quick Question came from. Our column that is very popular and very strange, but delightful. 4 p.m. at Fashionista, it's just when our conversations that are generally smart and informed devolve into weird memes and joke Twitter accounts and
talking about Mary Kay and Ashley Olsen style for literally an hour.
Memes by cool teens on the Instagram, that kind of thing. So that's the title. Let's see how this goes.
Hopefully it's as unhinged as those Slack conversations.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
We would have to censor quite a bit out, I feel.
So since this is our first podcast and Fashion Month ended a week ago-ish.
I think it was 2
weeks.
I no longer have a good grasp on time. I figure
No, I think it was last week. I think it
was last
week.
Wednesday. When did Donnie get back?
Last Wednesday, because it was last week. Oh my God.
It feels like a year ago and also yesterday. But we should talk about it. Let's talk about everything. And I think we should start with our highlights before we get salty and everything just goes completely off the rails. We should talk about the stuff that we liked.
All right. Well, let's preface this by saying we were all in New York. Tyler went to London and Milan. And then our West Coast editor, Donnie, who's in California and not in this snow hellscape right now, went to Paris. So let's start with New York. Y'all want to go first?
Yeah. I feel like I went to some really good shows, which is to say I think that the crop of stuff happening in New York is much, I don't know what the word I want to use is. It has potentially devolved from previous seasons, with a lot of designers sort of decamping to go to Paris and other cities
LA,
in Europe.
shout out Donnie.
Yes, in LA. But I did really like, of the stuff that I went to, I really liked Philip Lim. I thought his stuff was really beautiful and I keep saying wearable, but all of the shows that I liked and went to, everything was really wearable. Coach was beautiful as well. And I also really liked Monse, the joint show, which Tyler was at. You can probably speak better to that.
Yeah, Monse was really great.
Yeah.
Oscar was good. I mean, I think that that's what Oscar de la Renta needed. I think they need to get a little bit more comfortable there. I think right now, I mean, as anybody would be, it's probably a little bit intimidating to take over for a guy who was your mentor for so long and an icon in the American industry. But
And the house is named after him.
And he has a certain clientele. But I think that what they did was definitely really fresh and really new. I think if they start to play a little bit more with that kind of stuff, it'll be better. But Monse was amazing, obviously. Yeah. They're so talented.
Beautiful. I think that was definitely their strong suit of the two brands for sure. That you can tell that's what they're most comfortable with, I think.
Yeah. I think Probable was a real highlight for me. The best show of Fashion Week / month, probably. Because he's just so genuine. So many people, and we'll talk about this later, so many people got political this season. Obviously, there's so much going on. But he is so active and his stuff is just so heartfelt. And the collection itself I mean, you say wearable, like I felt it was very wearable and very beautiful. And then in the finale, they all came out in these t-shirts that had political messages on them, and people were crying, and the models kind of looked like they wanted to cry. I mean, it was just a very moving, real moment that I feel like was very refreshing during the week.
Yeah, I feel like everyone was talking about that throughout the entire week. Like, as soon as that show happened, that was, like, the benchmark for everything else.
Yeah.
Like, every other show that followed during New York.
And I think it helps, too, that he really walked the walk. I think if you're going to do something like that, he cast plus-size models, and he had a diverse cast of girls.
I'll go next. I went to the Calvin Klein show, Raf. Everyone there was so excited to be there, and it was the first show, basically, of the week. It was on Friday morning. And I feel like I haven't been to a Fashion Week event where I felt that sort of electricity, maybe ever. And he killed it. He lived up to it. He had a very clever and well thought out not political, but just statement about his new country, America. And it wasn't your run of the mill cliched ideas. It was kind of, I mean, it was an immigrant coming and showing how he views America as an outsider. And, you know, he brought his very European high fashion ideas to this all-American brand that's known for, you know, its iconic advertisements and kind of jeans, underwear, that kind of thing. But I'm really excited to see what the commercial collection in the stores looks like. I loved the varsity cheerleader like long sleeve sweaters that were so sheer in the middle, and oh my gosh, the like old school Holly Hobby quilt coats. Like I feel men and women hypebeasts everywhere are gonna just die over that coat. Organs will be sold for the Raf at Calvin Klein debut collection. What else? Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I felt very privileged to be there, and I think that's gonna really revitalize the house. I feel like here comes the salt.
Yes,
the only other high for me was Marc Jacobs, which felt very much like a piece of theater. And I don't know, he asked us kindly to not use our phones, and I decided to play the game.
Most people remarkably did.
Yeah. I put my phone away. There was no music, no lights, no nothing. It was silent. You could hear the chains like clocking each other as the models walked down the runway. And I don't know, man, if that's what Fashion Week used to be like, we got screwed. And then even when the celebrities were walking in, no one was chasing them with a camera. It was just really nice. And then Mark walked the runway at the end instead of a finale walk and kind of directed everyone outside. And that's where the quote unquote Instagram moment happened. But the way he did it was kind of poking fun back at us. Like, oh, you couldn't have your phones the whole time, but here are these models sitting out on the sidewalk and they're going to point their phones at you. How does that feel, bitches? Like, you know, just a very funny social commentary, I thought. And it was really nice to not look at my phone for 10 minutes.
And actually, like, see the clothes and remember what the clothes look like.
It was great. And the casting was great.
Yeah, the casting
lot of
was
cool
so
girls.
good.
So yeah, those were my highlights. I also enjoyed, I know a lot of people complained about this, but I also enjoyed going up to Harlem, to Alexander Wang's show. The collection was not my favorite, and you guys know I'm a Wang stan.
Ride or die.
Ride or die.
I would like to point out that Alyssa's currently wearing a Wang beanie.
Yep, and Wang boots.
And Wang boots.
Yeah. Shout out Alexander Wang.
The meme god.
Not Spawn.
Not fun.
But yeah, he just kind of knows how to lighten the mood. He gave us beer. It was literally a pyramid of kegs. And what do you need on a Saturday night during Fashion Week? Okay, a pyramid of beer. So thank you for doing that. And Metro Boomin DJ'd, which was fun. So those are my highlights.
And then outside of New York, like you said, I did London and Milan. I mean, Gucci was insane.
Yeah.
That was a show that it was the first time that I had ever done London or Milan. And that was one of those shows that you're sitting at and you can feel this is a show that people are going to talk about for a long time. Like when it comes to Alessandro Michele, like this is a watershed moment for him because obviously the clothes were incredible. It was so long.
Wasn't it literally a water? Wasn't there a fountain?
It was
say it was literally a watershed
pyramid. So they had these curtains, and then the curtains lifted to reveal this pyramid with a weather vane on top, and the runway was encased in plexiglass, and it just was sort of this surreal. I said reading the show notes made me wish I was a smarter person because it was just so it's like really well thought out, like philosophical.
It's like
thing.
very anthropomorphic. That's not the right word. Sorry.
And it's just like he's so brilliant, and he mixes all these different reference points in a way that literally if any other designer did it, it would look insane. And it just was beautiful. Like the clothes were beautiful, the moment was beautiful, and I felt, like you said, like really privileged to have been at that show.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that you say that because I have watched, like, since Alessandro started at Gucci, I feel like we've watched the live stream, obviously, every single season. And this season, I was, of course, blown away. But at the end of the live stream, I was like, oh, this is another Gucci show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so interesting to hear about the experience of physically being there and seeing the clothes in the set in person.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see what picks up because, you know, how everyone this season, like street style stars, were wearing the bootleg Gucci sweatshirts everywhere. I feel like next season we're going to see everyone with the Gucci sweatbands. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a thing.
The common sense is not that common shirt.
That was controversial.
Yeah. I feel like that's I've already seen that, like, on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
My contribution for Gucci is the only thing I have in my notes, I wrote doing too much with memes, question mark.
Oh, yeah. Bringing it back to today.
Memes.
Doing the most. Gucci got extra today.
Gucci got on the meme game.
They are doing
that
potentially a little too much with memes. Love a good meme. Love Gucci, but I think together, I don't know. Maybe we should talk about this later.
Maybe we should talk about the Gucci memes later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was such a brilliant show. And Prada was amazing, but Prada's always amazing. It's like saying Prada is amazing is like water is wet. Cool. Like, got it.
Yeah.
Wow, you're so edgy and thoughtful.
I read in preparing for this, I read your Prada review again. And I was very enthused by all of your, like, your 90s stoner references.
Yeah.
And at the end, and you, like, capped it off by saying, like, getting high is fun after all, or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that's like if my parents are listening, or, like, cops, or authority figures. But yeah, it was like chic stoner gear. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that Miss Prada had a much more thoughtful input than like stoner kids in the 90s, but yeah, I don't know.
Sorry to like put you on blast.
Blow up my spot.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is a good segue because you're talking about Milan. I feel like we should start talking about Dolce.
Let's talk about the millennials.
Yes.
Okay,
please
I
do.
have to say,
never enough time into the day.
Never enough time for millennials. So many millennials. God bless. I don't know. I truly don't know who they're marketing to. I mean, I do, millennials, but like,
super rich ones.
And Gen Z kids as well. People who like literally still live at home, like, and maybe have a physical allowance from like mowing the lawn. However, these kids, who knows what.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills kids.
I do not think any of the kids in the show have mowed a lawn in their life. Just a guess.
You don't think?
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, you know, Sailor Brinkley Cook has mowed a lawn. But
I feel like she has mowed a lawn.
Yeah.
She seems pretty down to earth.
I mean,
Sailor,
I love her.
Can you confirm? Tweet us.
Sailor,
we love you.
At Sailor Brinkley Cook. Dolce is a show, honestly, like, I love Dolce. I think it's one of my fashion guilty pleasures. Like, it's so much all the time. And I love it. And it was a show that I was most excited to go to because I just knew it would be over the top. And then Austin Mahone came out. Mahone. His fans are the
Mahomies.
Mahomies.
Know that.
So it might be Mahone. No, Mahoney sounds super weird. I don't think it's Mahoney.
His fans are the Mahomies, which is so maybe old. Why I know.
Rolling with the Mahomies.
But the show opens and he's like so slick and suave, and there's a guy on a piano and he's interacting with all the models, and there's so many looks coming out that I don't even remember half of them.
There was pulled every photo
Yeah.
from that show, there were at least 120 looks in that show.
I think there was like 150,
insane.
160. It was a crazy amount of people. But here's the thing. It was all so charming. I'm also like really easily charmed by good-looking teens. Oh my God, call the cops. No, like I obviously am a huge One Direction fan if you follow me anywhere on social media.
Yes, we will discuss this later.
And I am so easily charmed by charming pop stars. And I like don't understand, first of all, how he's not more famous. I feel like he should be more famous. But two, you're smiling the whole time. Everyone in the audience is smiling. I think everyone in the audience knows like this is real over the top crazy.
Didn't they also pass out booze?
Yeah, so the show ended
too.
and all these doors opened at the top of the steps and these waiters are streaming out and they have glasses of rosé and everyone's invited to come out and party with the models and do all this stuff. And I was like, I have no idea what I just saw, but I had so much fun. And like at that point in the month, having fun is great. You're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that people don't take this so seriously that it's not
I would
fun
have to
anymore.
agree there. By like day 4,
Yeah.
I'm ready for not sitting on a bench watching a runway show.
Yeah.
Just give me something else.
Give me the millennials. Give me the millennials.
Give me the Instagirls.
So not only were there people who are of millennial age, but there were like bloggers and then like miscellaneous.
Some of their best customers. I mean, like talking
Yeah.
about how they orchestrated this, it seems like a huge feat because they really did have some of their best customers worldwide and organizing fittings for those people. Like
my
they were
gosh.
sending in measurements from Brazil or from Tokyo or like I don't even know where everyone was from, but it was like, a real feat. So good for them. I loved it. Give me more.
What were your thoughts on the Bieber situation?
I
Or
really,
Bieber concept,
I was
as the
really-
teens are saying.
So
these
the
days.
whole pre-show soundtrack was Justin Bieber, and they had the piano, and I was like, "Oh my God, is Justin Bieber here?" No, fake out on that. But they had
But
those Justin
Austin was
Bieber
there.
shirts, and then I fell in love with Austin, who should be more famous. Just plug.
We're going to have a second podcast about Austin. FYI.
Plug to Austin. Yeah, and then they had these shirts that were. What did they say? It was like Dolce & Gabbana loves Justin, and then it was like a picture of Justin Bieber. It said King on it.
There were
and-
multiple varieties of this shirt.
Yeah,
It was
ride
a
or
lot.
die. And I went to the Reese and they were like silk shirts.
But don't we feel like the Justin Bieber wave has crashed?
Not
Yeah.
for Dolce & Gabbana.
Damn.
Okay, but we have spent a lot of time in the office just generally and also lately talking about the Justin Bieber like trajectory.
Yes.
And we feel collectively, to speak on behalf of the team,
Everybody who's not here.
that he is heading back down a slope. Right? Isn't this like
Maybe.
I think
potentially
he's
of
going to
concern?
disappear. Yeah.
Like-
I think some stuff is
I
happening
don't know.
there.
So
Poor Biebs.
But maybe these shirts are what he needs.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think so.
Dolce & Gabbana is looking out for Justin
saving
Bieber.
the Biebs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
TBD.
it's like a little love letter, a very expensive love letter that will probably be in stores in September and on at least one street style.
yeah,
store.
but you also know that those are going to be sold out too. So
Yeah.
like that Bieber merch, no matter what it is, will get bought.
Yeah.
Instabate.
Love an Instabate. Let's talk about Instabate. Let's do
Hell
it.
yeah. There's a lot.
There was so much Instabate.
Yeah.
Fenty.
Oh, Fenty was, yeah. I mean, I feel like Rihanna has how many millions of followers? 50 something million. So I feel like just the fact that she has a fashion show in itself is
Instabate.
Instabate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I would have loved to be at that show. Just seeing
too.
models tear pages out of books, being like,
Ugh.
F you, mom. I'm so angsty.
Yeah, it's like my dream fashion show if I were to, in a very odd turn of events, become a designer.
But if we're talking about Instabate in Paris, we have to talk about the rocket. We
Oh
have
my
to talk
God,
about the rocket.
Okay.
We're going to start strong. Perhaps the best Instabate of the month was the Chanel rocket.
I think potentially maybe of all time at any show. It was a literal rocket that literally took off in this show.
Oh, God. How much do we think the Chanel rocket cost?
I can't even fathom that.
How much do we think
How much-
people would
here's-
pay to go on
Yeah,
a
that
Chanel
was my
rocket
real
to the
question.
moon?
SpawnCon. The next time Chanel, I don't even know if Chanel does like SpawnCon trips, but they could do one literally to the
They
moon.
do.
at this
They
point.
do the really fancy resort shows, right? They did one in Cuba.
Yeah.
The
I didn't
moon.
know that counts.
Chanel
SpawnCon.
the moon.
Yeah.
It's coming for
Spring
you soon.
summer 2018.
Chanel Lune, whatever, like the Parisian version of the name would be.
Oh my God, this
boy.
is probably going to happen.
Karl Lagerfeld, who will never die. Knock on wood.
Tyler just knocked on wood.
Karl Lagerfeld is like a robot sent from probably space. And that's his rocket home.
And that is where he will return.
God bless. You gotta, for a while, I feel like Chanel had sort of backed down this like Instabait show. Not that their sets aren't always huge, but I feel like the last one they did that was crazy was the supermarket one that everyone looted.
Store.
And this was a true, like a return to form, I think, for them. Of like, we're Chanel, bitch.
I think my favorite part of the whole Chanel rocket bit, which we could continue to talk about for the next few hours, is in Donnie's review, she wrote that she was left wondering like how safe the situation was because who could Chanel know that would build a rocket? Like, is Chanel like secretly in with like Elon Musk and like NASA? Just like gave Mr. Musk a call and was like, yo, we need to build this rocket.
I truly couldn't get enough of it. It's one of those things where when that stuff happens on social media, you see it 1 or 2 times in your feed and you're like, oh my God, I get it. But like this was something that I wanted to see this rocket from every angle.
And people have a lot of good space jokes, as I learned. Like the space jokes were great.
I love a space joke.
Shoot me into space.
Shoot me into space.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to get tired.
No.
I don't think so either.
I think this rocket is forever.
While we're talking about expensive transportation, we should talk about Tommy Air.
Oh my God.
Tommy.
And it's debate. And millennials. This is like the crux of all things.
The trifecta. So that was insane. Donnie was there.
Insane. I could not get over the fact that they like literally jacked the idea of the Victoria's Secret plane, like every single facet of the Victoria's Secret plane was well represented. Models. Like every single thing, like the fake tickets, the same models, like the down to like the blankets that people
the
can
matching
use
outfits, the tee and the jeans,
like
and
it
the
was
jacket,
remarkable. But I also think that it was kind of Mr. Hilfiger to provide transportation for all these models
who had to walk like Calvin the next morning.
Yeah, exactly. That they can only like they had to be back in New York on Thursday. So I understand that.
And it snowed, right?
Yeah, it snowed. That like a lot of people got grounded in LA, I think.
Man,
like
that was
days
intense.
Fashion Week,
I don't know.
Which would send me into
it was
a conniption.
Just so much. I can't even imagine being there. I can't even.
Yeah, I mean, the most ADD. And I'm curious to see how that continues because he did one in New York. He did one in LA. Now what?
Space.
Yeah.
We're all going to space.
We're all going to space. That's the only place that's left.
Truly the last frontier.
I know. There's a Fashion Week everywhere else.
Not Calabasas.
Calabasas Fashion Week, please happen. Whoever's listening in California,
we're secreting
right
it. Mm-hmm.
The secret. Calabasas Fashion Week.
I think the other Instabate thing that I don't want to talk about, but I feel like I have to because Instagram literally emailed us saying his show was the most engaged with and talked about photo on Instagram in New York Fashion Week. Was Philip Plein.
Oh.
Yeah, I did not have a good time at that show.
R.I.P. to Alyssa's mentions
R.I.P.
forever.
me. But yeah, I guess if you cast enough viral sensations and Instagram famous models and spend enough cash, you're going to get talked about.
Yeah.
And invite Trump.
I think that he's the type of person that like really, I say this because I'm such good friends with Philip Plein. The kind of person that as long as you're talking about him, he's fine.
Yeah. He makes his money and plenty of it.
Yeah. And
unclear on why, but
that's all that matters, right? Like you get the mentions, you get the likes, you get the follows. And
Paris and Nikki Hilton were in the front row. Paris Hilton had herself quite the fashion week. She was around, inexplicably. Madonna was there. Go to fashionista.com to read my riveting interview with Hot Mugshot Guy.
Hot Mugshot Guy.
Who I hope did not get signed. I hope no agency signed him.
I mean, that seems
see.
Unlikely.
We'll see.
This is a good segue to talk about the worst things that happened to us.
Oh, wait. No, I wanted to talk about one more Instabate thing that we all watched from afar, but it was so good. Louis Vuitton at the Louvre. So good. Nicola Gasquier, you killed it.
Oh, my God.
We
were all watching the live stream in the office, and we were, like, making audible sounds. First of all, when Pyramid came on.
That was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Love Frank Ocean.
Yeah. And we were, like, just really freaking out. And we're
and all the girls look so good. Their hair was just curly and
that
big,
was
like
good
my hair
hair.
looks today, and mine does not look chic.
It was beautiful. It really was. Like I have thoughts on using like a really crazy extravagant venue, but this was done, I think, so well.
I mean, the Louvre.
Yeah.
I was Googling just to
beautiful.
see how much it would cost to rent
God.
out the Louvre, and nothing really came up. But one thing that did continually come up was how Jay-Z and Beyonce rented it out once so all of their friends could see an exhibit in private. So they're the tier of people who can rent out the Louvre.
And LVMH.
And LVMH, shout out, not Spawn.
Yeah.
I will continue to say that, everyone, just to be clear.
Nothing on this pod is currently spawn, unless you want to spawn, in which case we can be reached at tips@fashionista.com.
We would have to reach out to all of those brands that like do spawn for podcasts. MeUndies is one that I like advertises in every single podcast I listen to.
That's a discussion for another time. Yeah.
Yeah, worst parts.
Oh God, do I go? You're looking at me. I feel like Fashion Week just really
The
is
whole thing is the
bad.
worst.
It was like really tough. The weather, like
The weather was
I don't mean
horrible.
to sound like
A brat.
a brat, but the weather was really, really hard. Sunday was my longest day, and that was when it was
Oh God,
some
icy.
strange combination of rain and snow and sleet, and it was so cold, and I was just miserable by the time I got home.
Yeah.
That
I'll
was a
say
tough day.
I'll just go ahead. The worst thing that happened to me was the Fendi party. That was
Oh,
really
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
I decided it was a good idea to go out the first Friday of Fashion Week month, which was a very bad idea. And I get there, and not only was the door insane, it was just not fun. Like, they were definitely doing too much
Yeah.
to court the millennials and whomever else. Presley Gerber was there. He's super cute. He is he teen?
Yeah.
I think
They're all
he's 18
teens.
these days. Is he not?
I don't know. Well, we're going to change the subject, but they got basically every rapper in Atlanta to perform, and Metro Boomin DJ'd, and around 11:30 I realized I was far too sober to be at this party. So I left, and by the time I got home I decided to go online because they were live streaming the party on Boiler Room or whatever their, website, and it was so violent. I am so glad I went home to my safe bed because
crazy.
people were like crowd surfing and climbing on the stage, and they had to stop the show 4 or 5 times. Like the
Millennials are
Migos
crazy.
stopped rapping. Like, you guys, we are gonna have to pull the plug if you don't get off the stage.
Yeah.
And then Twitter the next morning, it was like
Oh, yeah.
a gun got pulled. I got punched in the face. I sent out a tweet, or I tweeted that, if you have a horror story, email me. And I
people
got
did.
emails.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that might be my last Fashion Week party for a long time.
Yeah.
It was not fun at all. And still not confirmed, like, what kind of
happened.
violence happened. Yeah. It was real shady.
Yeah. I feel like
I
that's one of those things that, like, the next day,
regrets
like,
kind of doing all of that for positive press, and then it devolved into like chaos.
yeah.
Chaos, a good theme of Fashion Week this season.
Yeah.
Truly.
Jeremy Scott.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Ooh. You
That
tell
was just like, I mean, I keep telling people this, but I'm someone who I show up neurotically early for fashion shows. Like, if you tell me a show starts at 7, I'm there at 6:50, right? And
so am I.
I mean, some people, well, so I showed up at 6:50 and 7-ish, and there was already a huge line out the door. There were for sure people lined up inside Skylight, but like not past the ticketed point, waiting for Kylie, which should have been my first sign that something was amiss.
Oh, sidebar. One time I almost died during Fashion Week because I almost got like run over by a horde of Tyga fans.
Tyga fans.
Yeah.
What a time.
I know.
What a time to
What
be
a
alive.
time.
That would have
be
been a
alive.
bad way to go.
Tyga.
That is not my ideal way
No,
that I'd want to leave this earth.
So we wait in line. I'm with a bunch of other editors from The Cut and Refinery, and there's some people from Teen Vogue in the mix. Like, it's a whole bunch of people. W and Cosmo, Marie Claire. We're all waiting. It gets to be 7:40, 7:45, which is unusually late. I mean, there's late, and then there's something wrong late. And security says, we're not letting anyone else in. We're at capacity. and I thought there was going to be a riot. I've never seen fashion people get this way about anything, which, I mean, people love Jeremy Scott. Yes. So, yeah, I thought there was going to be a riot. People were trying to climb under the ropes. The security guard was like, what are you doing? I'm standing right here and I can see you. It's not like you're invisible. What are you doing? And they kept saying, you can go see the live stream in the next room. And of course, like, don't tell a bunch of fashion editors who hauled their asses out in the snow at 7:00 on a Friday that they can go hang out in a room and watch a live stream. Are you kidding? It's a mess.
Yeah.
Still not clear on what happened, but I mean, they were not playing around. They were completely at capacity. I mean, they had a full house of people. I heard the collection was
Tune
great.
in to Keeping Up with the Kardashians to see the footage that
Not
Tyler
Spawn.
could not see.
Not Spawn.
Also not Spawn.
By E.
Not Spawn by E. I think we're the only thing at Fashion Week left that's not Spawn by E.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We're pulling out
What a
the...
bird.
Yeah. that was harsh.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And I was like, great, I'm going to go home. I'm going to drink a beer. I'm going to write about this because it's my job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was just crazy. I've just never seen something be that disorganized. There was no one scanning barcodes or checking tickets and that was like really, that was the real code to me that something was wrong. Is there's this huge line of people and it's occasionally moving, but there's nobody who seems to be in control of how it's moving. And who knows? There's so many different moving parts during Fashion Week and you have different PRs doing different things that who knows what happened, but it was
Different PRs in different venues.
Yeah.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
You get too many cooks.
Yeah.
TBT.
Stop. Don't haunt
too many
me.
cooks. Yeah. And then that and like more like you said, like the weather
Yeah.
was trash.
I like literally don't remember anything that happened during Fashion Week aside from
The weather.
the weather. I just
But I
remember
think-
being so cold.
I think one of the really good things that came, especially out of New York, is it feels like diversity was so much better.
Yeah.
this
I
season.
agree.
Yeah, diversity in New York had a really, really great season. For the first season ever, every single show that was on the Fashion Week calendar in New York showed a model of color.
Which is insane.
Insane.
And
That
sad that it's insane, but it's insane.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very happy that Fashion Week and models and designers, not so much models, but in terms of designers that have come around the bend to understand that it's important to show people
Yeah,
of
with
all
plus
sizes
size
and-
too. Like Ashley
size.
Graham walked
Yeah.
Michael Kors, and just there were so many more opportunities this season, and it did not seem like a put on.
No.
It
Yeah.
seemed like designers were really excited
Yeah.
about including everybody.
Yeah.
Kristen Siriano, as always, killed it.
Christian had a lot of girls. Candace Huffine was in a bunch of shows
Prabal,
this
right?
season. Yeah, she was in Prabal, which was amazing. Iskra Lawrence was in Siriano and Chromat, right?
Oh yeah, Chromat casting.
Chromat
was
But
was
really
Chromat always
good.
does
Yeah.
really good casting.
That was
they're
I
on
had
it.
never been to a Chromat show, and so I went this season. It was like a real great experience. I'm really happy that I was able to go.
But it's so nice
And
to
see the
see,
costume.
especially plus size girls on the runway, because the excuse is always like, well, we have to make a sample size. And it's like, duh. I mean, first of all, obviously. But it just showed that if you're committed and you realize this is important and you have customers who want to buy your clothes, that it's really not
In
rocket
your best
science.
interest.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, and there's so many great girls working who want to be on the runway.
Yeah.
And who can kill it. I mean,
And we're
they
so
were
excited.
amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
we did that story. Hillary wrote it for us about how she got 6 plus size models to just talk about their experiences this season, and they all said they wanted to walk Alexander Wang.
Yeah,
they just like
yeah.
want to do it so bad. There's so many opportunities they want,
And they're working
Yeah.
so hard
Yeah.
to get to that point. And it was wonderful to see that there were designers this season that were giving them a
Yeah.
fair chance, because they're beautiful women who represent a very sizable portion of this country and consumer base.
And again, if you're gonna talk the talk, like you got to walk the walk. I mean, Christian Siriano has always
Literally.
been great. Yeah, literally in this case. And Prabal again, and he has that Lane Bryant collaboration now, and it's just women want to see themselves reflected on the runway, whether that's their body type or racial diversity or gender diversity even. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
That was a huge thing too. At Mark.
Oh yeah, there were so many models that just every end of the spectrum, and it was really great.
Yeah.
And they all wore, you know, clothes that were, I don't want to say genderless, but you could have borrowed it from your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. It was super inclusive, and I feel like that is just the way to go. People are really owning it. So I'm excited to see if it can, the, you know, momentum picks up next season.
It's definitely one of those things that you hope isn't a trend. You know, you hope it's not somebody doing something just because.
But I also think this is what we do for a living, obviously. So I think that we are pretty good judges of whether somebody is doing this as a gimmick or to sort of fit in with a broader trend. I also
feel like now people are not going to shut up. Like James Scully, you know, he posted about the
James
mistreatment.
Scully, the GOAT.
Yeah, shout out James. So he posted on Instagram just all of these things he heard about the mistreatment of models in Paris, particularly at the Balenciaga casting. So yeah, you should check that out. It was a really big story if you missed it. But I think people are not going to shut up now. And I just happened to go on models.com earlier today, and they have an anonymous survey up. Like, if you're a model, how has your experience been? Where, why, how, like what happened?
Yeah.
So,
and Sarah Ziff and the Model Alliance have been doing such great work in that
I
domain.
think I am cautiously optimistic that things are going to continue this way.
I mean, we really do, not to be like, hooray for the white man. Sorry. But we really do need more people like James who are in positions of power, because models are so often, I think, mistreated because they don't really get a voice. We talk about the social media supermodel, but they still don't.
Like the situation with Carly and Vogue.
Yeah. I mean, and that stuff falls on them when it goes wrong. So it's like, oh, Carly Kloss was in a racist
appropriation.
Cultural appropriation editorial.
I mean, like, literally, she was in yellowface.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. But, you know, she's a model, and I don't know how. I mean, she's, granted, probably one of the most powerful models working in the industry. But
and people do respect her voice, I think.
Yeah.
Within the industry.
But anyone not Carly Kloss level can't.
Yeah.
You know, they can't say something.
They can't all be Gigi's and Kendalls. That's, you know what I mean? You can't dictate when you show up for a casting and when you show up for a fitting and when you'll show up for your hair and makeup. I mean, so I think that if we have more people like James who are really respected in the industry and they're in these positions of power and they can stand up and say, this is what's happening, then maybe people will take it more seriously. If nothing else, maybe people know that they're being policed.
Yeah.
You know, maybe people know they're being narked on. More narcs.
Oh my gosh.
Fashion narcs. I just think that stuff is, I don't know, it helps push things forward. I think it helps push the conversation forward.
Agreed.
I think if we're talking about diversity, which we hope is not a trend, we can talk about trends that we hope are trends forever.
Oh my God,
in
you
which
guys.
Case,
it's your moment. It's your moment.
I have been waiting my entire life for this stage.
Maura and I noted Harry Styles fans and glitter boot fans.
Famous. I don't even know where to go here. World famous glitter boot wear trendsetter, Angel Baby.
Harry Styles, future Oscar winner.
I think I would literally just spit on my mic. I think I would literally have a heart attack if that were to happen. I would be so excited.
Listen, I've seen the trailer for Dunkirk, and I just believe in his
need to cool it. Okay,
ability.
so we're talking about glitter boots.
That obviously was
in case that was not clear to everyone here.
So that glitter boots are obviously something that Tyler and I have been on board with for a very long time.
How many pairs do you own already, Maura?
I only own 2.
Only.
One in gold, one in black. My gold pair I've probably only worn like 5 or 6 times because they're my like fancy shoes, and I don't want them to ever wear down because I want to have them forever. But I wear my black pair pretty frequently, maybe every other week or something, every week, once a week. But Harry, I was doing some research when this glitter boot trend sort of started like cropping up on the runway this season. So I was doing some research through, you know, like Tumblr and other great teen modes of transportation.
God bless the teens of Tumblr.
I know. So truly helpful for a lot of story research for me.
Truly.
But I was able to date his glitter boots back to SNL in 2013, which, let the record show, was the first time I ever was like, oh, these boys are wonderful. And then
never forget that moment.
It was a moment. I was watching it alone I don't need to tell this story, but whatever. So then he sort of started wearing them with regularity, especially on stage at concerts, like for the next 3 or 4 years. And then all of a sudden, they started finally appearing on like a bajillion runways.
Yeah,
they were on
so many.
7 different runways this season, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And including at Chanel, they came in like
those
8
Chanel
different
ones
varieties.
are going to be probably widely gifted to #influencers.
Yeah.
They're pretty awesome.
Our addresses.
Yes.
Send them to me.
Maura and I will
JK.
wear them. We will Instagram them.
Oh, yeah.
We will Tumblr
We'll
them.
cry
for the
about
teens.
Harry Styles.
I will
in
literally
them.
sleep in them, like
I will
whatever you
Facebook
need.
Live them.
That's aggressive. I don't know if I'll go
I
that
will-
far.
I will do a lot.
I will do an interpretive dance to Story of My Life in them.
Been there, done that, man.
God.
No, I'm kidding. That does not happen.
I know.
Unless you count going to a One Direction concert in Montreal and dancing.
I count that.
Okay.
I count that. That counts for me.
Then I've done
Anyways,
it.
guys,
That's-
this
okay.
is not a One Direction podcast.
That's Maura and I's side hustle.
Glitter Boots Forever.
Glitter Boots Forever.
I
I was so excited. Every time I saw them on the runway in Europe, I would immediately email Maura and be like, guess what?
I mean, the amazing thing is we had talked about doing a trend roundup the day before the Monday, before the last day of shows. And I think Alyssa suggested, why don't we wait until after Chanel?
Yeah.
And
And
Miu
I'm
Miu.
so
And Miu Miu.
happy that we did, because Chanel was like potentially the biggest proponent of glitter boots of the whole fashion month.
Yeah, it was pretty great timing, everyone.
Yeah.
What else?
Are there trends that aren't related to Harry Styles that you're excited about?
I mean, I was kind of excited for a minute to see that the early 2000s are back. Everyone's like blinging out their
scared of
stuff.
the early 2000s.
And like Alexander Wang did it. A few other, like Jonathan Simkai had like super bedazzled jeans, and it kind of continued throughout the month. You know, Saint Laurent had those crystal slouch boots that I know we have a lot of feelings about slouch boots, but. And then Paris Hilton was everywhere. I saw Lindsay Lohan during Fashion Week.
Lindsay Lohan was in.
Oh my gosh,
Gucci.
we are there. It is the year 2001 right now.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back.
We
Top
made
Shop
it.
had some very
Juicy
like,
is
early
everywhere.
aughts dresses. I was like, I would have worn that dress to homecoming in whatever year I was in high
But you know,
school.
I feel like there's a fine line, because I still look back on those trends as being something that was popular when I was in like peak awkward stages. So I don't like, maybe this is my own like mental issue that I don't want to go back there.
I don't want to go back there either.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, some of like the really bedazzled stuff I think is great. Obviously, as evidenced by our glitter boots conversation, big fan of glitter and sequins and everything metallic.
I'm just not super into the velvet that won't go away.
Oh, I
but
love
that's
it.
that's a personal thing.
I am split. I can moderate your discussion.
Okay.
We can have a debate.
Yeah.
Instant debate.
No.
I'm glad it's hanging around because I bought a few items and I was
Okay,
very concerned when I
fair.
bought them. But I'm never doing it like a full piece. Like I have like shoes, velvet shoes.
I have like a really great black velvet dress that's pretty, and I only bought it this past December, but it's good for like holidays and stuff. I think it's pretty timeless. But with stuff like that, I don't know. There's some like really trendy velvet, like tracksuits, and then there's like things that are a little more evergreen.
Yeah.
And then pantsuits.
Oh,
Pantsuits are going to be big for fall.
Yeah,
Pantsuits.
generally,
17.
yeah, 80s stuff in general was
you
like
think
everywhere.
Yeah.
There was more. I feel like there were
So much 80s.
There was more that was 80s and wasn't 80s. I think.
Yeah.
on
The
every
slouchy
runway.
Babies of the 80s. That's me.
Me
Do you
too,
think the
always.
pantsuit thing was the Clinton effect?
I'm not sure, but I feel like it had to be a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I think-
maybe also a reaction to just the uber casual sweatshirts and sweatpants that everybody is currently just obsessed with. It's kind of a step in the opposite direction, you know, wearing a head to toe Vetements or a Vetements and Champion collaboration. Just
Yeah.
wear like a suiting, you know, look.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I don't know.
pantsuits specifically sort of stemmed from Hillary, but I think 80s has been in the works for
Brewing.
some time. Like I did that trend report in December, and it was like very clear that the 80s were going to be like the number one trend, and that was definitely seen throughout the runway. Like everything looked like it could have been on my personal idol, Sloane Peterson from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I was personally jazzed about that.
The early odds thing, though, I just like can't. What's the rule? If you lived through it, you shouldn't do it, right?
Yeah,
I
owned a
lived
fair
through
amount
it.
of Juicy, so we're just going to not talk about that right now. I owned so much Juicy.
I never owned any Juicy. I don't know why.
While we're talking about trends, let's talk about street style.
Ooh.
What did you guys see that you liked and that you didn't like, and who was especially thirsty this season?
Who is especially thirsty? Me. Just kidding.
I don't know. I feel like I was pretty bored with street
Yeah, I was
style.
very
Yeah,
bored.
I'm
like I
having
mentioned, the Vetements hoodies were.
I'm having a hard
lot.
time recalling stuff.
Yeah, New York was very cash. I think it was the
really
weather.
cash.
I think part of it was the weather.
I don't know. I also feel like the most covetable stuff is really comfy right now.
Yeah, like all the puffers.
Wear your jacket the right way.
Oh my God, please wear your jacket the right way. I tried it the other day and it's not
It's cold.
It's cold. Like,
Yeah.
just put it over your damn
This is a
shoulders.
hill I will die on. Use your sleeves. I don't know if we are allowed to,
Okay.
if we're going to swear in this, but
Maybe no.
But just use the
My
sleeves.
mom listens to this.
The sleeves are there for a
sleeves.
reason. You're not wearing a cape.
I
Like,
will say,
Chiara Ferragni wore a cape.
Chiara, she
Alberta
did wear
Ferretti
like a
cape.
literal
Okay,
cape.
but it was like a Phantom of the Opera cape, like a full on, like,
And it was
swirling.
blowing in
Yeah,
the wind.
I
That was a
appreciated that.
moment.
That was a
If you
look. That
if
was
you're
a
gonna
look.
if you're gonna cape it, you gotta go all in. Like you really have to go all in.
You gotta look like a Disney villain if you're gonna wear a cape at Fashion Week.
I will defend the wearing your jacket as a cape move by saying if you sit in a show and it's really hot and you have to take your jacket off, there's nowhere to put your jacket.
That is true.
And you just drape it over your shoulders, and then it's kind of nice to go outside and feel cold for like a minute. But if it's windy and you're having to hold on to it, it's like a whole thing.
Then why don't you just unzip your coat? Like maybe this is me just being like really cynical and I don't know.
You're
whatever.
not wrong.
But
The people who are wearing it like Balenciaga style though, and it's like off one shoulder.
Shout
or
out
off both-
Debna, not Spawn.
Not Spawn by
it's
Debna.
like there were some coats that people were wearing that was like half of their torso was like out of their coat. Like it was it was like when you peel like a wrapper off of a piece of string cheese.
Oh my god!
Like the peel,
What a
like the
metaphor.
wrapper was like halfway down the piece of string cheese, whereas the string cheese is the human.
Oh my god! Okay, we're getting unhinged.
Is it
That
four?
was
Is
already?
it 4?
Yeah, it is exactly
Okay,
four.
so
Good
I
job,
cringe.
Lauren.
This is a scientifically proven thing that we have.
This is a really
Figured out.
happens.
If
Okay.
it's not
Fashionista.
clear, I also really like string cheese. So
If we want a string
Oh,
cheese
boy.
sponsor.
hit us up.
No, I just think that people, it just seems so thirsty.
Oh, okay. We have to talk about the fact that people bought and wore the Balenciaga nylon thigh-high boots that I thought were, a cool showpiece for the runway.
Yeah, I thought they were
Editorial.
like a runway exclusive.
Yeah,
I
and
honestly
then
did.
everyone had them, and
I guarantee you they'll be on the Real in like 2 weeks.
But also, if you're wearing stuff like that, it's so while we're talking about random comparisons, when you were in elementary and middle school and you had to put a book cover over
Yes,
your books,
they
it
look
was
like
like that
book covers.
neon
Yeah.
neon nylon stuff.
Ugh.
Those are the Balenciaga boots, and they
Yeah.
So
get
true.
so dirty. Like the price per wear thing with those, the ROI is not good.
Book covers for your thighs.
I can DIY this. Maybe I should.
Oh, God.
I mean, this is also true with and many other Balenciaga accessories. Like,
Oh, they did skirts this season that were like the mats
Car
in
mats.
the bottom of your car.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the ROI on that I don't. That's fancy for a return on investment. You're welcome, everybody. I took one
we report
basic
earnings
economy
here
class.
at Fashionista.com.
I have Googled it before.
We're
and
not
that's
talking
what I
about
learned.
it on this podcast. though.
Passing along my Google knowledge to you. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like how often are you going to wear those? You wear those once, and they're the Balenciaga boots, and you've worn them.
It's true. I was very surprised to see how popular they were.
Yeah.
That's why I just wanted to bring them up.
So as a
Yeah.
person not in the market for Balenciaga.
No,
I'm like not the target customer.
Me neither.
I don't think.
And then so much Gucci hoodie. I would love a Gucci hoodie.
Gucci.
Not
I was
Spawn.
also pleasantly surprised by the amount of like Gucci florals. Again, circling back to one Harry Styles, that's his like favorite thing ever. I really like when people put in a little bit of effort when they get dressed. I think especially after the last couple, I mean, I guess just the last season of like uber casual, like wearing full on sweatsuits. Like it was nice to see people stepping out in full on like Gucci floral suits.
Yeah.
Like going all out.
I will say, though, I think that's a pet peeve of mine during Fashion Month, street style in general, is if you are wearing like a head-to-toe Gucci look, that's so boring. I get it. You can borrow Gucci. I'm really excited for you.
Right.
But that's not interesting to me. That's the thing that I miss about street style. Is street style back in 2007, 2008, 2009 was people who were dressing up and dressing to impress, but it was their actual style. And maybe they were borrowing stuff. I don't know. I feel like maybe they weren't back then because it wasn't a thing. Right. But at least they would mix the Gucci florals with something that they owned that they thought was interesting or a different shoe or whatever. And now these people are just rolling up to shows in head-to-toe, like, look 42 from, you know, Balmain or whatever. And it's like, why? Like, this is so... If I was a street style photographer, I would be like, please leave. I mean, they can't do that because it's not how that works. It's not like Phil O is like, please, can you turn around and go home?
You can stay.
You can
you
stay.
get on a plane right now. Go home.
Return to wherever you came from. No, I just think it's so boring. And I think it's become so... I mean, who knows
Spawn.
anymore? It
Hashtag
is.
Spawn.
It's Spawn. Anyway, that's a whole other...
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like this might be a good place to stop our first one, no?
Yeah.
All right.
Or we'll just talk about Harry Styles and Rocket.
Yeah, sorry about that weird string cheese moment. I didn't eat lunch today, so I'm pretty hungry.
Maura is going to go home right now and eat some string cheese. Thanks for listening. You can tweet us. We're at Fashionista_com. We are also there on Instagram. Tell us what you want to hear about. We can talk for hours. We honestly do. So just tell us. And this podcast is another outlet for things that we want to write about, but we don't have time to, or the amount of employees. So if, you want a story that might be of interest, let us know, and we'll try to keep you happy.
And if you're Harry Styles, Maura and I are also reachable at Fashionista_com.
Yeah, hit us up.
All right.
We have thoughts.
Fashionista out, taking the Chanel rocket into space.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.